Hi, my name is Kinsley Brown. I'm a Relay Hero Ambassador. I'm in the sixth grade and I attend Scott Middle School. Today I'm going to be interviewing Mary Miller. Let's begin the interview. What do you do for a living?
Well, thank you, Miss Kinsley. Right now, I'm an officer in the Army, in the United States Army, and currently I perform logistic operations. In the Texas National Guard, we have the border mission that's happening between Mexico and Texas. So, with that operation, I manage a lot of our equipment that is at the border when it comes to supply, maintenance. Uh, all of those operations is things that I supervise.
Oh, that's pretty good. Like, do you you deliver supplies or do you actually work in the field?
So that's a great question. So I personally do not deliver supplies. We actually work with contractors, similar to Amazon workers. We have our own delivery teams that get orders from our office, and then they then push out those deliveries at the different areas. So if it's vehicles or regular supplies, those contractors are who facilitates those movements.
Oh, okay, okay. How long have you been like doing this career or job?
Okay. I've been doing it as of last week, 15 years. So, yeah, pretty long
A
time.
long time.
I joined the army when I was just 17 years old.
17. That's
I was
wait. How, like, what age can you join the army? Is it any age, like
That's a
16 or
good
up?
question. 17, so you got to be 17 years or older. When you're 17, you actually have to get a written consent from your parents or a consent from your parents. They sign a form saying that, hey, they're allowing you to join. So being that I was 17, still in high school, my parents had to sign a release form to allow me to join. But you can't go to boot camp, which is the training, until you're 18. So a week after my 18th
Oh,
birthday, that is when I then shipped off to boot camp.
oh, okay, that's nice. Are you familiar with Relay or what we do?
Yeah, so I am very familiar with Relay. It was something that I actually learned recently that Relay Heroes, they are ambassadors that assist students in learning about financial literacy and also helping them learn about fundamental things that they will need when they become young adults in college.
Yep,
So
yep.
I'm personally, I am not part of Relay, but I do know some young adolescents that are part of it, and it is very life changing for them compared to students who never utilize Relay Heroes.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what it is. But um, what do you think like they do for families? Do you think that they do anything good or that helps families, children, kids, help them get a better understanding about financial literacy and all that good stuff?
So, really good question. I think that Relay Heroes, it's one of those programs that allows families to be integrated, not just their children that's in the program, but they address families when it comes to understanding financial literacy, shortfalls, and education. For instance, like when I was your age, I didn't have parents that had an understanding of how going to college works or financial aid or understanding like how to do scholarships. They knew that those things existed, but as far as like the advice that they could give, they only knew what they knew, which was limited information. So I believe that programs like Relay Heroes, it is a very heroic program because it's taken that gap between families, and it's kind of stating like although you might not know how this works, we do. So I think that it creates that village mentality of, hey, it takes a village to raise a child, and it's not just about being a good worker one day, but it's about being a good citizen. And I know that you all volunteer and y'all are very strong in y'all community understanding of community service. And I know that you had shared on social media that recently you were at the nursing home, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Helping out. And it's just those small acts of service that most students your age, they may not feel fulfilled or want to do something like that. But it is a fulfilling experience when you can, as a child, help out in your community, whether it's passing out candy, spending time with someone that may not have family, or learning how to do resume writing or interviews as we are doing today.
Yeah, because those little things might feel like really big to them, and they may not have anybody to look for them, so they really appreciate it. So would you recommend any students or children to try out for relay?
I would. I definitely would. I know that Relay Heroes is a very prestige group to be a part of. So not everybody that wants to be part of Relay Heroes are given the opportunity just because of the size of the program. But I do hope that Relay Heroes expands even more, giving more students the opportunity to be a part of it, because I do believe that it's one of those programs that is needed. It's not just a want, but I think that it is very needed in all communities, not just communities where like you're dealing with poverty, but I feel like everybody should be introduced to Relay Heroes, just to kind of get that understanding of, hey, I'm just as part of this community as my parents. I'm just a part of this community as my teachers, even as a child. So I feel like the younger that you are introduced to responsibilities as a community, if you're an advocate of any sort, the earlier the better, because you start understanding those foundational skills that you need as an adult. So you got to start. You got to crawl before you can walk, and it's the same thing with being transitioning from middle school to high school, and then high school to college. So you got to start somewhere with understanding, and I feel like Relay Heroes, they help bridge that gap.
Yes, yes, because if you learn at a young age, you'll eventually get better and better at it. And yeah, then you'll know everything and you can still learn more even when you get older. And you'll be a leap ahead of everybody else that's already started or just starting now. But you would already know because you already was like taught that. But let's get feisty right now.
Okay, let's
Um,
get advice.
if you had unlimited money, what would you do with it for the rest of your life?
Okay, unlimited money. So if I had unlimited money, that would mean that money wouldn't really hold a lot of value at that point, to me at least. But I would definitely try to address poverty. Being a veteran, again, like serving 15 years, I see a lot of homeless veterans still on the street, or, like trying to figure out how to navigate outside of their career that they may have done for 20 years or their whole life. They've been involved in a program, and all of a sudden they're out and they don't know what to do or where to turn. So if I had unlimited money, I would probably first thing, of course, help my family out with any of their financial needs. But I would really like to start a program for homeless veterans where they have some sort of homes available for them, if it's tiny houses, and like just like a program for them where they can gather and be a part of people that they're used to, in a sense of like the military community, have free health insurance for them, available mental health screenings, medicine that they might need, and just like education opportunities, because I feel like some homeless veterans, they don't have family, so they're kind of out in the world, usually, like going through mental health illnesses by themselves, or going through drug withdrawals by themselves, and they don't really know where to turn to, or they're embarrassed and they don't talk to their family members or friends because they're so shameful of what events have taken place. So I would definitely maybe start a program for them in different communities, and allow them to be taken in and screened and evaluated for further help. But again, like with the idea that this program that I would start would be something that's temporary for them, if it takes a year for them to recover, but then allowing them to be independent. That's always the main thing. Like you always want to teach a man to fish, right? You don't want to just bring them fish. You want to teach them to fish so that they can, in your absence, still be great and have a fulfilling life.
Yeah, because some people actually you had a very good response because some people might have been selfish and would just try to keep the money for themselves and just instead of trying to help other people that actually need it. But moving on to the next question. What are some sacrifices you have to make to work to do your job or what you have to do to stay in the job?
Okay, very good question. So a lot of things. Number one, physical fitness. You can't be obese, morbidly obese and not working out. That can really make your job in the army pretty hard because you got to be able to maneuver, you got to be able to fit in the equipment, fit in the vehicles. Have you ever seen an overweight pilot? I have not personally.
Me either.
So a lot of our equipment, it's made for people that's in pretty good shape. So like if you are overweight or not physically fit, that can be harmful to the mission, causing you to have issues. So like you have to be physically fit. And if you're not physically fit, like that's a sign that your career is slowly, or, like slowly, uh, ending in a sense. So if you're not physically fit, it's going to be a long road for you to like if you're planning on retiring. So number one, physical fitness. Number two, integrity. Um, that's a topic that a lot of people don't really understand is like what does integrity mean? And integrity means that you're doing the right thing even when nobody's looking.
People.
So when you wear the uniform in any branch, if you're in the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, Navy, Coast Guard, Space Force, um, you have to have an understanding that, man, I am a representation of this military branch. So a lot of things that you do on your personal life, like social media, you see a lot of people in the military doing dancing videos. And although it looks cool and fun, that's a direct reflection of the Army sometimes, or the Air Force or the Navy. So the sacrifice that you have to make sometimes is that you can't allow your personal life to blend in with your work life. And a lot of people don't understand that balance because they're like, man, I do this full time. I want to be able to do these things. But it's like you have to have that clear separation because a lot of things can happen if you merge those two together. You know, we have a lot of standards when it comes to how we look. When it comes to nails, like I love having my nails done. I love having going to spas and stuff and getting dressed. But I know when it comes time to serve, I have to be within code. I have to be within standard. So like having an understanding of all those policies and procedures, it helps make your life a little easier in those programs. Another sacrifice that people in the military have to make is time spent away from your family and friends. Um, I recently deployed to Europe not too long ago, and I was there almost a year. And it was hard not having family and friends around or the time gap, like being on a different time schedule. So a lot of times when you're in the military, one of the biggest sacrifices that you have to make is not making it to every family function. You're going to miss weddings. You might miss people having babies. You might miss graduations, but it's all for that bigger cause. So you have to kind of be able to, again, balance your life, work, and social life if you're trying to do something long term. Again, I've been doing this for 15 years. So there's a lot of stuff that I miss, but there's also a lot of stuff that I was able to make. Um, because I feel like you make time for what you want to make time for. But you have to make sure that you acknowledge that there's going to be some things that you just don't make it to. And you have to be okay with that because, like you miss a wedding, you're not going to get to see that wedding again. Or you miss a birthday, maybe you'll see them again, but like some events are a once in a lifetime event and you got to be okay with missing it because you're serving a higher purpose. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah. Like people gotta make a lot of sacrifices. Do I want to put my life on the line or do I not? Do I want to shave my head or do I want to keep my hair? They have all those things that they have to think. Do I want to work full time or half time? Or like when they what is that called when they call you in like to
Uh,
service?
be
Yeah,
activated.
yeah, that they might want to do those.
Mhm.
Um, What are some benefits of the job that you work?
Okay, so some benefits. Again, when I joined, I was 17, so that came with understanding that I was getting benefits, and one of the biggest benefits was education. So again, like my family was not the richest, but we were not poorest. But I did not have scholarships. I didn't have an understanding of how to get scholarships, but I knew confidently that the military was going to give me a scholarship in a sense of like, hey, my tuition would be paid for. And I was able to confidently understand that at a young age, like, hey, if I join the military, I'm going to be able to go to school. I'm going to be able to get my bachelor's. I'll be able to get my master's. I'll be able to get stipends here and there. I'll get VA housing benefits, insurance benefits. Um, you see the military discounts everywhere, just about everywhere you
Right?
go to. Um, but there's a lot of benefits, but I think the best benefit that at 15 years, right? Like I've already gained the VA housing, the education benefits. I've taken advantage of all those benefits, but my favorite benefit is just being able to be a part of a team. Joining so young at 17, that military service became my family. So the idea of meeting people from all around the world, that was a great benefit because if I had stayed in Lafayette, Louisiana, in my hometown, and decided to work out there and not join the military, my life would be a little different than it is now because the military, they allowed me to do things that I probably wouldn't have been able to do by myself. My
Yep.
first plane ride that I took, it was with the military. I had never flew a plane before I joined the military. That was my first plane ride, all paid to boot camp, South Carolina. Um, and then being able to have that financial freedom that I didn't have growing up as a child. The military helped me out a lot with having that consistent pay, being able to put on my resumes that I have military service. And again, like with the military service, when when employees see that on your resume, they already understand that you have the basic leadership skills that some employees may lack. And that includes loyalty, duty, having that sense of respect for yourself, selfless service, having a sense of honor, integrity, and personal courage. So that's the actual military acronym that we like to use. But if you and a friend of yours, if y'all were applying for the same job and you had military experience, it's more than likely that you would get hired than your friend because your employee sees that you already have a sense of integrity about yourself, a sense of courage that you joined the military, and a sense of duty, most importantly. So a lot of people lack those things, without the military, but a lot of people in the military, they have something that regular people don't. And it's just, organization. Um, and employees like that. Employees like to have someone that's already ready to go. They don't have to watch them all the time. They have an understanding that, hey, you're in the military, you already know how this works. So
Right. The military gets you in place. Like you have
get
to
you in
do
place,
this, follow directions. Yep.
all
And,
directions. Mhm.
and then also you only don't just travel, you also like get to work, but you also get to travel new places. Like you only have to pay for the flight. You could just travel new places and work at the same time. It's a win-win, I think.
Yeah.
Um, so after all those missing all the family events or something that's gone down, what are like the good things about your job? The stuff that you enjoy about it.
So meet new people. That's my favorite one. And it's kind of it's a win, but it's a loss because a lot of people that I've met in the military, I might have only met them that one time and I never see them again, or like I run across them again. Because although the military is nationwide, I mean like it's worldwide. We have people in places everywhere, just about everywhere in the world. But it's nice when you meet somebody and then 10 years later maybe you're at a training somewhere and you meet them again. So I've had those occurrences where I went to boot camp with somebody in 2010, and then I deployed to Europe and I see them in Germany Or, I see them somewhere and I'm just like, man, I haven't seen you in 10 years. And, we catching up is kind of like you're talking to your cousin. And it's because that military struggle, that sense of like, hey, we got to get this done, this mission readiness, it allows you to click with people and connect with people that you normally would never probably talk to if you saw them in the mall. So I think that the military, one of the best things that I've learned is that it gives you an open mind, because a lot of people that I met at 17, 18, 19 years old, in high school, I probably would have never talked to them. I was doing my thing and hanging out with people that I felt I connected with. And then boom, I joined the military and I'm hanging out with people of all cultures, backgrounds, people of all ethnicities and sexual orientation, religions. And we all have the same mission. So it's like we have to learn how to work together. And I think that sense of mission readiness, or just want to complete something, it makes you forget anything and everything that you've been taught as a child. And like now you've opened a barrier, or ended a barrier and opened an opportunity to connect with somebody. I'm a Christian. When I was joining the military, I had never really met Muslims or people of other faiths. Coming from a predominantly, closed community, or like in some respect, I was able to be around ethnicities I had never seen. And the military really was a culture shock when I went for boot camp, because again, I'm used to seeing two things in Louisiana, or this type of Christianity, this type of non-denomination, this type of accent. And then you join the military and then you're talking to people from all pieces and color of the rainbow, and you're just like, wow, like I didn't know that this type of person existed. And now you're doing a mission with them. So I think the military definitely taught me how to be open-minded. It humbled me a lot. And it gave me a sense of like, hey, there's more in the world than just me. There's more in the world than just what I know. So I definitely think that that introduction is very similar to Relay Heroes, because it introduces you all to an open amount of different things in your life, and it challenges you to think. And I do believe that the military challenged me to think and how I operate day to day.
Oh, that's but like, do you like have certain people that you like always travel with, or do y'all always split up at some time or some point?
It just depends. It depends on what's happening and your certifications. So again, like being that I do what I do, 15 years in, I do a little different things than somebody that just came in may do. So it just depends. It depends on the mission, depends on their mission, and if we ever would cross paths. So sometimes I travel in groups, and then sometimes, I might travel by myself. So it all just depends on the situation. But with what I do now, usually I travel by myself.
Oh, so like so like you don't have like, but like you don't have a travel buddy, nothing. Like you always getting split up or by yourself, no groups, no nothing. Or it's like that for new people. Like, do new people usually get paired in groups to like
Hmm.
observe what the older people know so they can learn from that and know what to do when they sooner or later they start going on missions by themselves.
Yeah. So it's all about kind of gathering trust. Like you as a child, for instance, like, if you wanted to go to the movie theater for the first time, you think about your parents. Would they allow you to go to the movie theater by yourself? Meaning that they don't have any recollection of how you act at a movie theater by yourself, or would they ask you to go with a sibling? Same thing here, like they want to challenge you to see how you react to certain environments. And then when they build up that trust that you can do something by yourself, you're by yourself, depending on the mission. Now, if your safety's ever involved, where it's something where you need a battle buddy or a buddy. We call it battle buddy system. But if you need like a partner to travel with you, then they would definitely pair you up. But if there's no safety concern and you're a trusted advocate or a trusted person, you definitely can travel by yourself because it's always faster to travel by yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And it's way less cheaper and all that stuff. But like for anybody that's like wanted to join the army, or like for instance me, like if I want to join the army, what would you tell me? Like the goods and like the stuff that I might have to leave behind or forget.
So I would say, number one, the military is not for everybody. Let's just get that out of the way. And it's not one of those things that's like a saving grace, like, hey, you join the army now you're, like you are going to live the rest of your life, rainbows and butterflies. It's not like that. But what I can tell you is that a young person wanting to join any branch of service, as long as they have the will to want to succeed and want to be more than they thought that they could be, I would challenge them to want to join the military because again, the military taught me a lot of responsibility. It taught me that I could do a lot of things if I apply myself. Um, when I was growing up, I had a lot of siblings. I had a lot of brothers. And we didn't have the most money. So I joined a lot of teams, sport teams, and anything to get out of the house, I wanted to do it. And if it didn't have a cost to me, I was all in. So I would join different athletic groups just to be able to travel and do things. So I always was a traveler, always. And I enjoyed that part of the military. But one thing that's different than who I was when I was younger and who I am now is that the military taught me that if you want something in life, you can't just sign up for it with no work behind it. You got to be able to actually apply yourself if you're trying to advance. So if you're just trying to sit around and, exist, the military is not for you. You got to be a type of person that takes initiative, wants to be challenged, and also you're okay with holding up the standard. If we all are supposed to be back in at a curfew, 9 o'clock, but you're an individual that's, hey, I'm gonna push the limits. I'm gonna get back at 10, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. The army's not for you because you're gonna be challenged and you might be disciplined to where, like you're facing a negative discharge, and that's not the best thing. So you gotta kind of know who you are and who you're trying to be. But we
Right.
have people from all branches, all backgrounds that join the military, and it's sad to say not all of them make it because they have issues with understanding who they need to be when they put that uniform on. So some people live double lives, and then sometimes those people with double lives, it bleeds into their work life and it hurts them. So you have to be a type of person in the military, I would say, who has integrity and who is open-minded. If you're not open-minded and you don't have integrity, the military will be a hard life for you.
Yeah. Like for instance, if you want, do you have to have like a certain background, or like does your background affect you to join in the army? Like for it's like if you have like a bad background or you got in trouble a lot as a kid, like would that affect you now when you try to join the military?
So, right now in the military, when you join, there's a security process that happens. Like they check your medical side, and then they also do a police background check. So, like if you're a person that had a very troubled background, there may be a process of waivers that you have to go through. And if it's really bad, it'll be a hey, you can't join at this time until you fix these issues that you had with police or law enforcement. So they want people to join the military branches, but they don't want just anybody, especially like if you have a criminal background. That's going to be a hard one to say like, hey, you can join because the military, we're 1% of the nation that decide to join this program. Again, similar to Relay Heroes. You guys are a very small organization. Not everybody that applies gets in. Same with the military.
Right. All right, so now we got all those, deep questions, the stuff. We're gonna get into some fun questions to end it up. Um, so the person you like, if you had to eat a food for the rest of their life, what would it be?
Okay, if I had to eat a food for the rest of my life, oh, I want to say a fruit because I don't want to be unhealthy and say like, hey, I'm gonna eat this snack for the rest of my life. So I'm looking at some chocolate covered strawberries right now. So I'm gonna say I would eat chocolate covered strawberries for the rest of my life, and I would be okay with that. Because then if I didn't want the chocolate, I could just eat the fruit. But then if I wanted a snack, I could eat the chocolate and the fruit.
That's a smart answer. See, I would never thought of that. See, me, I would have thought of a snack because me, I like snacks a lot. I like sugar. I like But
Mhm.
yep. But I think that's to wrap it up. Thank you for joining me today at this meeting, and
Thank you for
have a
having
good.
me.
You're welcome, and have a good rest of your day. Thank
Okay,
you.
you too, Miss Kinsley. Thank you.
Thank you, very.